to pick up the GT battle as Collins gets up to speed. On board the number 42, coming up behind Collins in the Corvette. This is Karl Wendlinger, currently shown 13th in the overall and 5th in GT. Imagine after that brilliant sunlight, the drivers are probably glad to see the sun go down. As you look at our Eastlam speed line over the bottom of your screen, reflecting your comments. And this just in, we have an email from a fan, Buzz Marcus, who says, tell Derek Bell that his son Justin has won the Houston Trans Am round.
I hope he's not kidding. Because I'm all excited in here, boy.
Justin picked up his first victory in the Trans Am at Laguna Seca, and we had highlights of it on Speed Vision News Race Week. You could have seen Derek Bell just about fall off the top of the transporter. He was so happy.
Well, I can't quite do it in here, so I'll have to calm myself down.
Congratulations, Dad.
Yeah, if you'd like to step outside and dance around a little bit and jump, you can do that.
I feel better now.
Just don't scream on the microphone. Up through turn 5.
Borcheller.
This is the second place car in GT, the number 6 PTG machine in the hands of Boris Said. Excuse me, that's Jörg Müller in the class leading 43 right now. Word was that it was Wendlinger. It is not. Right now, Jörg Müller is in position to pick up the GT driving championship. There's Wendlinger in the 42. That is correct. Wendlinger in the 42. Jörg Müller in the class leader going for the driving title. Christian Menzel in one of the Alex Joe Porsches. GT, of course, as always, the biggest single class in terms of representation. We started with 16 GT class cars. Almost a third of the field for today's race. Now Said climbs out of the number 6. I didn't see who got in. Was it Hans? No,
I'm gonna say he's not as tall as Hans because I didn't see him.
In that case, it's Bill Auberlen, who's had a great run with BMW out of Redondo Beach, California. A guy who spent his amateur career winning everything in sight. Drove for a variety of teams trying to get his pro career going. He's become a BMW contract driver. Boy, he had a moment he'll never forget here at Petit Le Mans last year, driving a BMW prototype in the final year for that car. Went over in a full backflip on the back straightaway here. Fortunately landed on his wheels.
So important to clean that windshield at night.
Oh, yeah. You can absolutely do nothing about it from inside because you dare try and wash something and you keep going, shall I put the washers on? And you go, no, no, don't touch it. You keep wanting to touch it and wash them and you daren't.
Boris brought the car in from 8th place and 2nd in class. We'll see where Auberlen winds up. Well, I'm sure they did the best they could with that windshield, but there it is.
That's all you're going to get, boy.
Well, unfortunately, in the pit lane, it doesn't become the highest priority. If the fuel is done and the tires are on and the driver's buckled in, let's go.
Let's get down to Andrew Marriott in the pit.
Yeah, I've got Hans Stuck who's been watching our coverage. How was that pit stop from the television?
Oh, perfect. I mean, Boris did a great job, you know. Let's hope that Bill can take it to the end now. And if we finish second, we're fine. We're happy, you know. The main thing is BMW winning championship this weekend. That's important.
You're really not going to go and try and take that win, steal that win?
No, perfect. This was, from our side, a perfect clean race this time. Very good.
Thank you very much. We'll try and get Boris in a minute. We want him down here to tell you how good it really is.
I tell you what, Stucky's got less hair above his ears than he's got below them now.
Hey, he's gone for that Elvis look with the berms there.
Yeah.
But a terrific driver. Although, I had a bit of a first this weekend. In the wet warm-up this morning, or what, no, it was yesterday on the damp track, I saw Hans Stuck go off in the wet. I've never seen that before.
Oh, well, there you go. It happens to the best of people, you know that, Bob?
for them. But I'm here in the 43 pit right now. BMW leaders. Jörg Müller, the championship leader, jumps out as Dirk Müller jumping in. And this is the man who came over from Porsche to BMW. They didn't get their hands on. Dirk has really been sharing the car with Fredrik Ekblom all year. They've done a switch around for this race. But Dirk didn't get his hands on one of these V8 powered cars early in the season, so he's a little bit further behind in points. But he is certainly recognised as one of the quick drivers in these GT machines, certainly up to the speed of both Jörg and JJ on most occasions. So two very fast drivers. This one has run pretty flawlessly. They really haven't had too many problems. I don't see any damage to the car right now, just lots of oil and grime. And then you see Jörg Müller right now. He's inside the car, working on the inside of the windshield. So with these damp conditions, we think that they may be getting some steam up effect on the inside.
I saw them tear that acetate not only off the windshield, but off the headlight gels as well.
Yeah, I mean, it really gets grimy on the front end, and you know, it's like Derek could really relate to this, and Jeremy as well. When you're driving one of these cars at night, I mean, that's one thing that frustrated the heck out of me when I was driving, is that the teams would never pay enough attention to having headlights and also a good windshield wiper system or defogger system. When you'd be at Sebring or something doing 12 hours, you couldn't see, the windshield wiper falls off, and you got headlights that are like pointing at the crowd instead of the racetrack, and I'm sure the guys can relate to that a little bit.
Well, the guys go and spend all this money on preparing the car, wonderful engines, wonderful suspensions, great tires, and then the driver can't sit in his seat because it's too uncomfortable, and he can't see because the windscreen is covered in muck. So it really is sometimes some of the creature comforts, and you see the car go right off the road.
Careful.
Oh my goodness.
Careful. You can't drive it back on cold tires that quickly either.
Well, this is the ideal driver pairing for announcers like us. When in doubt, just say Mueller's in the car. Back to Calvin.
Well, here you see it, guys. This is what it would be like to look at through some of that grimy windshield or maybe the headlights, and that's a clear view. I'm sure you'd prefer the other one right now. There you go. But, pretty dirty stuff out there.
All right, thanks, Calvin.
To turn 3 there, and it really is very blind to the top of the hill, and you might feel like you are going slow enough, but the car gets very light at the top of that hill there, and there's not a lot of traction turning in. And you can see he's wide of that apex. He was never really even close. As we look at the replay, he's wide of that apex. And I was actually worried more when he came back on here, because he didn't slow up a whole lot, and he had to jump over the curb, and he actually got the car very sideways.
He's doing better to come over the curb at a slightly finer angle. But I guess all he wants to do is get back on the road and get on it. There he goes.
Well, fortunately, it doesn't look like he's done a lot of serious damage to that car. You can see that right front brake rotor glowing a little bit in there. You know, these cars may not be very popular with anyone that is a Porsche fan or that runs a Porsche GT car, but for a lot of the other race fans, the reviews in terms of this V8 BMW have just been fantastic. It sounds great, it looks great, it is so quick.
And the other thing I have to say is they have such a colourful lineup of drivers, and I think, you know, a BMW have always done this. They've always been colourful. They've always had their cars in good colours, very presentable colours, very marketable colours, and they always have named top drivers, and I think they've done very well continuing to hold them on. When you think they were in sports cars last year, now they're in a GT car. It's not easy for Lehto to subscribe to that, but he's done it, and it's good for them.
Absolutely.
Let's look at the number 18 in the hands of Patrick Lamerie, running 3rd in the overall and an LMP 900. There is some bad news, however, for the number 43 car. He's going to be black flagged and brought back to the pits for a stop and a 1-minute penalty. And Calvin can explain.
Well, we saw what happened on the pit stop was that Jörg Müller actually was cleaning the inside of the windshield, and that is not allowed. He's allowed to assist with the driver change. Charlie Lamb right now is talking to the officials, trying to maybe get this penalty reversed, but they're looking at the rule book, and the situation is that the driver can assist with the driver change, but if he then starts to work on the car, he effectively becomes a fifth mechanic, and you're not allowed to have guys working on the car when they're doing this. That'd be a bit like him jumping out and starting to change the left front wheel, in effect. Certainly not the same situation, but cleaning that windshield was an infraction. Going to bring him in. He'll have to sit still for 1 minute.
You know, I saw him doing that, and I thought, I wonder if that is allowed. And I didn't say anything because they don't get anyone in trouble.
No, they're listening to our feed.
Well, when he comes in and stops, it's going to hurt because Bill Auberlen is just 25 seconds behind him in the number 6 BMW. And Karl Wendlinger, no, is a couple laps down, so he should be all right. He's going to lose one spot.
And I don't, you know, whatever Hans-Joachim says, I believe that because we've talked about the rivalry between this European-based Schnitzer team and the American-based PTG team, and it is a serious rivalry. Like, apparently they're still talking about the penalty because he's not coming to the pit lane. But you know the PTG guys want to win this race. They want to beat these guys. They've raced them all year, and they want to win this race.
Into the fading light of day here at Road Atlanta.
What a lovely shot that was, eh?
JJ Lehto and Jörg Müller, teammates. Welcome back to Road Atlanta as we continue with our live Speed Vision coverage as Audi presents the Petit Le Mans, 4th running of the great race. Final round of the American Le Mans Series for 2001, and championships are being decided as the minutes tick away to the end of the season. The final awards banquet for the season will take place at the beautiful Chateau Elan, not far away from Road Atlanta, and I'll have the privilege of being the MC for that tomorrow night. There is the number 42 BMW. We're looking for his teammate, Dirk Müller, in the number 43, who has been called in for a 1-minute penalty when his co-driver climbed out of the car and touched it to clean the windshield. That was a violation of the rules. There is the number 43. There has been a long discussion between the team and officials, but the team has apparently conceded, and now Müller brings the car in. We'll watch it all unfold. Calvin Fish is standing by.
Okay, well, Dirk Müller brings it in. He does have the option, guys, of leaving the engine running, but as you can imagine, 1 minute without the car moving and any airflow would overheat the engine, so it's going to be a 60-second penalty, we believe. Now, the situation was Charlie Lamb went over to the steward's office on the other side of the track to argue his case. He felt it was too extreme for the infraction. He said if one of the crew members had done it, it would only take about 10 seconds to do that work anyway, but it's pretty much in the rule book. If you have one man too many over the wall, essentially that would then be a 1 minute penalty. That is in the rule book, and of course there's one thing for them to argue their case, but you've got other teams out there, they're going to go up and say, why did you do that? So the rules are set out there. Meanwhile, the number 6 car has taken the lead. Also, what Charlie was arguing is the fact that they believe the 6 car gained a lap. When we went yellow about an hour ago, when Müller was leading in the Audi, he just overtook both the 43 car and the 6 machine. Now, they slowed down in turn 1 under a yellow, and Jörg Müller immediately radioed in and said the number 6 car just went back around the leader, and that effectively got them a lap back. So there was the penalty, 60 seconds, Dirk Müller back on track.
And Jörg Müller, you saw with the red cool vest on, standing at the back of the pits. There's Charlie Lamb, the team manager, who has argued long and hard, going over to talk with Jörg Müller, who is in position to win the Drivers' Championship. They have just given up first place, so he'll be crunching the numbers. Keep in mind, there is a bonus point available for the driver who sets fast lap in class. I believe Jörg Müller is still in pretty good shape. But that'll come as cold comfort to him, I'm sure, standing there in the pit lane.
Well, Bill Auberlen has taken the lead in the class. He's now up into 8th overall. Mueller's shown 9th, but we need to get him back over the start-finish line to recycle the timing. The cutoff to do that was this past Wednesday, so the entries are set. So Ron Fellows has no choice. He can't get in that car. He can get in and drive it around, but he's certainly not going to score any points.
I have an email here from Jim O'Brien asking, how can 2 drivers of the same car have different... Best battle is in the GT category. There's the class leader. That's Bill Auberlen in that PTG BMW M3 GTR. And earlier, Dirk Müller came in for a 1-minute penalty for too many men over the wall, and right now he runs second, a little over a minute behind Bill Auberlen. Let's get down to Andrew Marriott with Boris Said in the pit lane.
Boris, your car's in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time it's supposed to be in the lead. I mean, we had a good game plan all day. You know, everyone at PTG has done a good job. And, you know, these races are usually won and lost on mistakes. And unfortunately for the 43 car, they made a mistake in the pits, and we capitalized on it. So I don't feel sorry for them. You know, hopefully we can win this race, or at least one of these BMWs is going to win this race. And these cars are awesome, and so far so good with the reliability. They're really good. And the Yokohama tire has been consistent all day long. That's been a big part of it. Good pit stops, and you know, we haven't made any mistakes in traffic yet, so there's still a little ways to go.
Yeah, I'm going to move over to David Murey here, who is a Porsche driver who suddenly finds himself in a BMW. You've really enjoyed it, haven't you?
Well, it's a great ride. I mean, the cars are so good, they're competitive, they're so much fun to drive. We had a little luck fall the wrong way for us earlier today. Our car's out for 4 hours, but I'm so happy that Boris' car and Hans and Nick and Bill's cars doing so well. And we're keeping our fingers crossed. We don't want to say too much right now. It's that time that's tension's a little high. Just hoping things go well.
David, this is all very different to that Porsche 917 you drove that fabulous Porsche weekend a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that car was it's my favorite car in the world. It's got so much horsepower. You know, they had the Le Mans car that I drove there, the LMP car, the 98 GT1, and some 962s. And this car has so much power. I closed it on like they were driving their Volkswagen Beagles, full bucks.
David, it's been a sort of unusual season for you because you haven't had a regular ride. Well, what's the hopes for next year?
Well, I'm not sure what's happening next year. Right now, you know, I started off with a team that decided not to run this full season after the first couple of races, so it put me in a bit of a bind as far as a full season. Fortunately, I got on with some different teams, G&W, and I'm really happy the BMW allowed me to drive with them this weekend because what a fantastic ride. The cars are really, really nice to drive, and they're competitive. You got a great chance to win the race.
David Murey, a man who's had the engine in front of him this weekend rather than behind him.
Yeah, now there is a young pro who deserves better than he's gotten in the way of drives. David Murey knows this place like the back of his hand. He has taught here as a driving instructor. He is a very, very good racing driver.
Yeah, he was my teammate at Le Mans and Daytona and Sebring a couple of years ago in the Riley and Scott. Very, very, very good driver.
In the queue, easier to spot. And after a flurry of yellow flags, 5 in the first 2 hours of this, what appears will be a 9-hour, 15-minute run, we have had relatively few. On board with Bill Auberlen in the GT class leading PTG BMW M3 GTR.
What a great result this would be for this PTG team to finish up 2001 with a win. Here's a good look at the cleanliness of the windshield. Or lack thereof.
Lack thereof, exactly.
Trouble is, it really is the material, isn't it, that the screen's made of. This, I think it's like a Lexan type material, and it just scratches so easily.
And it's just so hard, you don't have the time to properly clean it anyway. And that's the problem, is that once you're done with fueling and you move on to doing a tire change, if you elect to do so, often it's time to leave the pit lane. And as we've already discussed, the cleaning of the windshield is not necessarily the priority.
This will be a big win for Bill as well. Back in '99, he finished second in a BMW prototype. Of course, last year he had that hideous crash. So a win this year will be a measure of redemption for the California driver. So the GT cars with those yellow gels, so it's easier to differentiate them from the big fast prototypes. Welcome back live as the Petit Le Mans is now in its waning moments, and the battle is a BMW struggle in GT. Moments ago, Bill Auberlen, the class-leading car, came in for his final pit stop. Meanwhile, Dirk Müller came thrashing around in the BMW Motorsport version of that M3 GTR, and the two are virtually nose to tail on the racetrack right now. The question is whether Müller will need to come in for a splash of fuel before the end of the race.
And Bob, we understand it is just going to be a splash, so he will have to stop again. So he certainly will not take tires. They'll probably just put 5 or 10 or 12 seconds of fuel in the car.
There's a Porsche just ahead of Müller, but just ahead of the Porsche is Auberlen. Here is the 6 car. Well, check that. checking the interval from Auberlen, who now we assume is ready to go to the finish. Flash across the start-finish line. And count the seconds to Müller. And he was the first car through. The gap is 6.7 seconds from first to second in GT. There's Müller in the 43. So this will be an interesting gap to watch. Working lap, the race leader, Frank Vila, is working lap 372. And yes, now back to that GT battle. There's the 43 of Dirk Müller. Meanwhile, his teammate, the unrelated Jörg Müller, is in position to clinch the Drivers' Championship. And Calvin, I would guess he is something of a nervous puppy down there.
Well, Jörg, they're asking if you're nervous right now. What are your feelings right now? I mean, the cars are very close on the track. We believe your car needs a splash and go. Is that correct with fuel?
I'm not nervous at all. Dirk did a fantastic job the whole weekend. He's fast, consistent, and we really saved the car. You know, didn't hit the curves very hard. So the car is gonna last. I'm not scared at all. You know, we came here to win the championship, and if we finish like that, we're gonna do that. That's important.
How much satisfaction do you get here? You came here a couple of years ago, Jörg, and I hate to bring this up. I'm sure you've heard it a million times, mate, but that one got away from you at the very close to the end, and it's got to be satisfying to come back in the GT car now and win a Drivers' Championship if you stay ahead of JJ in the race today.
Yeah, but I think Georgia or Atlanta doesn't want me to win, you know. It's a very difficult situation. I mean, this weekend I did probably something stupid, you know, to clean the windshield. At least Dirk has a clean window now. That's important. And I think Atlanta doesn't want me to win, but I'm going to come back and try it again.
What are the plans for next year? I mean, Team Schnitzer going to be back. Are you and JJ going to run GT racing again next year?
I haven't heard anything from BMW yet. I would love to come back to America. I really enjoyed this season. I had a lot of good fun, you know. I've had a fantastic teammate, which was a shame that I didn't finish the season with him, and I hope I'm going to drive again with JJ next year in America.
It's not over yet, Jörg, but hopefully you'll be crowning you the champion in about 30 minutes, mate. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Well, of course, when Jörg Müller is talking about Georgia and Road Atlanta not wanting him to win, a couple of years ago, he was in that BMW prototype, sharing once again with J.J. Lehto, and with just a couple of laps to go while leading the race.
Exactly. Yeah, but how many times has that happened in motor racing? Not that many. I mean, it's a pretty... in the lead of a race and you lose it 2 laps.
And it's like Andy Pilgrim. His piece of tape gets played over and over, passing.
I'd rather have his, though.
Yes, that's a better piece of tape.
In fact, where J.J. Lehto was so brokenhearted, he thought all had been lost. Müller actually got the car back on track, salvaged second place, and when it was time to go to the podium, J.J. Lehto was nowhere to be found. He offered his apologies later on. We'll be back in a moment to Road Atlanta. Welcome back, and now the GT battle is decided, as is the championship, as Dirk Müller brings in the number 43 BMW Motorsport M3 GTR. Not only is he going to get a splash of fuel, he's going to get a new set of Michelins.
Well, they must feel that if they're going to catch the number 6 car, they're going to probably need a little bit of a yellow, but if they do get that yellow, the only way they'll get it done is if they've got a fresh set of tires on the car. So maybe they feel that that's their only chance.
And although they want to win it, they're actually more intent on winning the championship, and so they better be safe and sorry and having a tire that might let you down.
So Dirk Müller goes back out, hoping to deliver his teammate Jörg Müller the Drivers' Championship. 37 miles an hour to the end of the pit lane, and then back fully up to speed. There is Jörg going back. Welcome back. We are going all the way with you here on Speed Vision as Audi presents the 4th running of the Petit Le Mans, final event of the American Le Mans Series for 2001. On board with Bill Auberlen, leader in the GT class in a PTG BMW. He's done his team and owner Tom Milner proud this weekend. It's Johnny Herbert going by in the 3rd place champion car.
You have to believe that BMW is asking the question, do we need 2 teams contesting this championship?
You would certainly think so. You would certainly think so in this budgetary conscious period that we're in. I'm sure they can't possibly see to run 2 teams next year. the series desperately needs the two teams because it's good to have that competition.
But what a perfect candidate as a customer car, that V8 BMW, much the same way as Porsche does with the 911s. Now that they've had a season to develop it, and it's clearly a race winner and the dominant car right now.
The last few years.
This is Bill Auberlen once again in the class-leading car. And he is still hauling the mail. 3/4 of an hour. And here is Bill Auberlen bringing the number 6 across to take the GT class victory. And for BMW, the Manufacturers' Championship, a team championship, and a driver's championship for Jörg Müller. We're coming to the finale of the fireworks display, but the celebrations have just begun here at Road Atlanta. The 4th Petit Le Mans is now in the books, won by Frank Biela and Emanuele Pirro for Audi. Bill Auberlen, Boris said, and Hans Stuck, winners in the GT category for BMW. Here's a look at our drivers' champions in the American Le Mans Series for 2001. Emanuele Pirro in LMP 900. Didier de Radiguez, who came in already having clinched the inaugural LMP 675 class championship. Terry Borcheller with that dramatic moment in which Ron Fellows and Johnny O'Connell dropped out of the race in the very early going, then were disqualified for mechanics laying hands on the car on the racetrack, allowing Borcheller to come through and grab the victory. And of course, Jörg Müller, the GT champion. He's standing by with Andrew Marriott.
Jörg, how do you feel? What a great day for you.
Yes, I think Georgia doesn't want me to win, you know, Atlanta doesn't want me to win. I think I did something quite stupid to clean that windscreen, but at least Dirk had a clean windscreen for the rest of his run. I mean, we came here to win the championship, and I think that's the important thing. We did that, and I'm quite happy for the team. They worked quite hard the whole season. You know, we had a brand new car, which worked fantastic here in Atlanta, so I'm quite happy, really.
Are we going to see those BMWs at Le Mans next year with you driving?
I hope so. Ask our boss, you know. I would like to sign the contract tomorrow if I can, but I didn't get an offer yet.
Thanks very much.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta, where the post-race celebrations following the Petit Le Mans bring the 2001 American Le Mans Series season to a close. Let's get down to the pit lane. Calvin Fish standing by with our GT race winners.
Well, second time this year the guys win, as Boris said, and Hans Stuck. You got Billy Auberlen alongside today. Great run for you guys. Real heads up with the Schnitzer team, and you won it, mate.
Yeah, it's a big win for us. I mean, this Petit Le Mans is kind of like the Daytona 500 for us, and I mean, it took a real team effort. You know, BMW, it's the ultimate driving machine. We got a great new car. Yokohama's behind us. They beat Michelin heads up today, which is pretty good. We even got new Moton shocks that helped out today, and you know, what can you say? Driving with a legend, Hans Stuck and Billy Auberlen. It was just a total team effort. We didn't make any mistakes.
Let's talk to the legend here. Hans, has it been really great to finish the season off? As always a long winter break, and you want to finish on a high note.
I mean, this is fantastic for me. It's another edge in my crown of long-distance races. And thanks especially to Bill and Boris today. They did most of the job. It didn't work out for me to be in the car for so long, but I'm very proud about my boys, especially about my brother.
We're like
Boris,
brothers.
you know?
It doesn't matter. I'm going to say hi to all my people at home. No fear and spy.
Okay, let's get over to Andrew Marriott with the winners in LMP 675.
Victory for Audi in the hands of Frank Biela and Emanuele Pirro. Audi's finish first, second, and third, and representatives of all 4 classes in competition finish in the top 10. Again, spare a thought for Jan Magnussen and David Brabham, who brought the house team from Panos a top 10 finish after a very, very difficult day. Lucas Luhr and Sascha Maassen finishing in 11th place, and then J.J. Lehto, Fredrik Ekblom, and Karl Wendlinger. A tremendous amount of mechanical attrition throughout the day, much of it due to contact. Of our 10 yellow flags, 5 of them came in the first 2 hours, and then everybody became much better behaved. But once again, as you've heard racer after racer say, this is a very difficult racetrack, a very quick race.